But first, friends with benefits. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, just as when her husband was messing around with a White House intern, Hillary Clinton thought the rules of government, rules of conduct didn't apply to her.
Can you tell me the story of how you decided to delete 33,000 emails and how that deletion was executed?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, there was no regulation, there was nothing that did not give me the full authority to decide how I was going to communicate.
Typical Clinton. Depends on what the meaning of the word permitted is. The truth is, what she did stunk to high heaven. The State Department Inspector General concluded her private server located in her bathroom didn't automatically archive her emails and violated the intent of the Federal Records Act. But that's not all. The National Archives and Records Administration said her use of a private email was also improper. Then there was a potential violation of 18 U.S.C. 793 involving the handling of classified information because her system was not secure. Dozens of emails later found on her server were retroactively marked classified, some at the top secret level. Now, she didn't bother getting State Department permission either to use her private server, violating her own department's rules. Then the biggie, destruction of federal records under 18 U.S.C. 2071. But she claims the 33,000 emails she deleted were all personal.
We went through a thorough process to identify all of my work-related emails and deliver them to the State Department. At the end, I chose not to keep my private, personal emails. Emails about planning Chelsea's wedding or my mother's funeral arrangements, condolence notes to friends, as well as yoga routines, family vacations, the other things you typically find in inboxes.
Of course, I don't know about you, but I don't want to think about Hillary and yoga at all. Of course, there was no way, though, of confirming any of what she said. Emails were gone. Maybe Hillary was so brazen, though, because she knew that she'd always get bailed out by her friends.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. Prosecutors necessarily weigh a number of factors before deciding whether to bring charges. There are obvious considerations like the strength of the evidence, especially regarding intent. Responsible decisions also consider the context of a person's actions and how similar situations have been handled in the past.
Well, now, it looks like his big investigation missed quite a bit. Newly declassified documents show that Comey and company failed to ask and follow up on key questions. Senator Grassley's report cites an extreme lack of effort and due diligence in the investigation of Hillary's private server and email handling. Here's the kicker. The FBI obtained thumb drives involving Hillary's servers, but Comey and others at the FBI failed to perform additional targeted searches of the drives. The thumb drives reportedly were never reviewed during the investigation, but contained highly sensitive information exfiltrated from U.S. government agencies, including the Department of State, as well as then-President Barack Obama's emails and potentially congressional information. Oh, this gets better and better. So who was part of the FBI, crack FBI team that conveniently didn't do the digging themselves into these thumb drives? Because those are really complicated, the thumb drives. Well, in addition to Comey, it was like old home week. It was then Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe and FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok, along with others. Come on, it all makes sense now. But this was all a joke to Hillary.
Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something? No. Well, no.
How it works digitally? Did you try to wipe the whole server?
I don't know how it works digitally at all.
I have other people do that for me. She just wanted to carry one phone. It was nothing more, nothing less.
When I got to work as Secretary of State, I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of two.
But as usual, the truth is always elusive with the Clintons. Because there were many more devices than the two phones. Try 13 devices she used to send emails. But where did they all go? Well, her lawyers at Williams & Connolly could not locate them. Maybe because they were smashed with hammers. One aide, Justin Cooper, told the FBI that he did recall 2 instances where he destroyed Clinton's old mobile devices by breaking them in half or hitting them with a hammer. Trump always knew the truth.
I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently. But I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I take responsibility for that.
No, a mistake? Cute. That's cute. But Hillary likely knew she had political allies at the top, so didn't worry. In his tedious memoir, Comey raised questions about then AG Loretta Lynch, remember her, about her impartiality or lack thereof toward Mrs. Clinton. Because her direction was that he call the inquiry into the email server a matter instead of what it was, an investigation. Now, the more we learn about the Clintons and the Obamas, I mean, all these years later, that was a decade ago, guys. But the worse it always gets. But that's what happens when you let the sunlight in. That's what Trump promised to do. And especially on the biggest scandal of them all, Obama and his intel chiefs, when they allegedly manipulated intel assessments to advance the absurd story that Trump was somehow compromised by the Russians.
Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden. And so were the rest of them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group.
They all worked to subvert an election, and then when the unthinkable happened, Donald Trump won, they hoped they could still hobble his presidency. And remember, everything they did also bled into the 2020 campaign. Because of Obama, there were far-reaching repercussions from the Russia collusion fraud.
Look, he's guilty. It's not a question, you know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason.
That got Obama's attention. He called Trump's comments ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction, adding, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intel Committee, led by then-chairman Marco Rubio. Come on. Obama, Hillary, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Strzok, Page, Rice, all of them knew exactly what they were doing. The semantic game, President Obama, will not bail you out here. The phony Steele dossier, the FISA court misrepresentations, the hounding of poor Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, come on. The letter from the intel chiefs, it was all a fraud. Now, whatever the DOJ ultimately decides to do with all of this, well, it's up to them. But I think history will ultimately judge all of this for what it was. If you were friends with the Obamas, if you were pals with the Clintons, they protected you. If you weren't, they tried to destroy you. And that's the angle.
Yesterday, Joe Biden sent Hunter on a search and destroy mission to 86 the party that cooed him. Hunter says Obama's cabal is filled with washed-up has-beens who cost his daddy re-election. And he struck a nerve because the Chicago boys came out firing at the big guy and the little guy.
It's 3 hours of Hunter playing the victim, and he rages at us, and he rages at Axelrod and Clooney.
You were a liability. You should be ashamed of the ways in which you made your father's political life worse. And the idea that we're going to listen to you now, give me a break.
These Obama guys covered up for Hunter for 4 years, covered up the laptop, said there was no crime there, said he was just an addict who loved his daddy. And now they call him a sleazy liability. And now they're also also, your dad was sleepy.
Hunter's on a tour right now. And just going forward, I think the lesson to learn is because hopefully we're not going to have an 80-something-year-old geriatric candidate again.
There's some other weird he said he blames the debate on the Biden's staff saying they gave him Ambien on his foreign trip. But like Biden got back from the G7 on June 14th. The debate was June 27th.
A lot of Ambien.
If Ambien was the issue, like, I don't think it's Ambien, it's age.
Joe was a lucky skeleton who stumbled into the White House with a sack full of COVID mail-in ballots. And the left was pumped because they could just auto-pen their wish list into law during nap time. But Auto-Pen Jr.'s on the warpath, and he's calling the Obama boys grifters, still dining out on the Messiah's legacy. Then the Obama bros went low, and I mean real low. They compared Hunter to the monster himself.
It's just utter lack of self-awareness.
It's the shamelessness that really gets you in the end.
Well, I saw one quote. He said, we all talk about the incredible popularity of Barack Obama. Barack Obama never got more than 69 million votes. My dad got 81 million votes. Like, dude, now you sound like Donald Trump.
George Clooney's not an actor. The low-rated Jake Tapper. It's amazing to watch people become the thing that they claim to be the savior from.
After they lost in a landslide, the best and brightest Democrat minds said they needed their own Trump. Then Hunter busts back onto the scene and starts laying the wood to the establishment like Trump did in 2016. And they all circled the wagons around the establishment like Barack Obama was Jeb Bush. And now the whole party's running for cover.
So these comments yesterday by Hunter Biden going after a wide swath of people in the Democratic Party, are those productive at the moment?
I missed it. I'm not tuned in to Hunter's ravings.
Senator, do you have any reaction to the Hunter Biden clips yesterday?
No, I haven't. I don't pay attention to what Hunter Biden says.
I understand the personal pain that Hunter Biden is experiencing on all sorts of fronts, but I don't think it's constructive right now to engage in this backward-looking, finger-pointing.
Well, ignoring the problem isn't going to make it go away. There's a growing insurgency on the left. You got the bitter Biden faction and the squad and their commie Mondami wing. There's a civil war brewing, and every Democrat's getting drafted whether they like it or not. No one is safe. AOC's coming for Chuck Schumer, and she's got backup in the House.
I think that Chuck Schumer was a very skilled legislator under Biden to pass legislation, but that's not what the times call for. Right now, the times call for someone who's going to stand up to Donald Trump.
Democrats are losing so much blood from all this backstabbing that they're sitting on death's door. Weak, woke, and broke. Look at that. The DNC can't even raise money anymore. Kamala wasted $1.5 billion in 4 months. But just like any problem the Democrats see, their only solution is to just throw more money at it. Fang Fang's Beijing fling, who said, "I'm not a real man," is a Kamala simp. He says Harris would have won if we'd just gotten to know her.
Most people say that the biggest mistake that Kamala Harris made was saying that she wouldn't do anything different than Joe Biden when she went on The View. I don't think that was the biggest mistake. And candidates, trip up all the time. I think the mistake was that there were many days that would pass before she did another major interview.
Her handlers hit her because she was a cackling gaffe machine. And the more voters saw, the less they liked her. But some dead-enders in Hollywood say America missed out on Mrs. Lincoln.
I still think about Kamala and how I think she would have been a good choice. I don't care what they say, because she would have done what Lincoln did. Liz Cheney would have been Secretary of State.
Team of rivals.
Yeah, team of rivals.
While Kamala's California dreaming, the party's begging Barack to get off of his Adirondack chair and start a revolution.
I think if we are in a moment of crisis and you've ever led this country, you should still care about this country enough to be out there. I've had this crazy thought that if every time Donald Trump did something crazy or said something crazy, Barack Obama should have like a press conference or something. If you care about this country, and if you're a president, I assume you do, you should, be doing a little bit more if you're calling on others to do this.
Obama told Democrats to get tough, and Democrats are like, what about you, coach? We've seen you once in 6 months, and it was on your wife's podcast, telling little boys they need gay mentors. And when the Clinton vets say it's getting embarrassing, they would know. Quote, constipated, leaderless, confused, a cracked out clown car, divided. These are the words I hear my fellow Democrats using to describe our party as of late. The truth is, they're not wrong. The Democratic Party is in shambles. What have Democrats been doing for the last 6 months besides singing, dancing, firebombing Teslas, and pretending to care about Jeffrey Epstein? They've spent more time talking about Stephen Colbert than the cost of living and health care. If Trump's really a dictator and destroying democracy, why are Democrats having margaritas with illegals?
That's just my lack of faith in the Democrats. You know what I mean? I just don't see them having the team or the message to win in the midterms. I think we've seen and realized that Trump being bad is not good enough. Mm-hmm. Trump being a liar is not good enough.
You got to offer something better.
That's it.
Liberals have become the pariah that they tried to convince you Trump was. And now we're witnessing a therapy session by showbiz millionaires who claim they're the real victims.
The shows that you now seek to cancel, censor, and control, a not insignificant portion of that $8 billion value came from those shows. Go yourself! Yourself! Just go yourself! Everybody!
Democrats are throwing themselves a pity party for a fired millionaire who was losing CBS $40 million a year. When the Keystone Pipeline workers got laid off by AutoPen, or the soldiers were fired for not getting vaxxed, Democrats said, too bad. But a guy making $20 million a year is told his show's over, and they show up and mourn him like it's an open casket funeral.
On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself.
TDS is when you lose the company tens of millions of dollars and then get fired and blame Trump. You know how you can turn it all around? You doge half your staff, tell a bunch of Hillary jokes. It wouldn't kill you, although she might. And bring on some different guests. Maybe a Republican for once, or maybe Hunter. Now that's a late show America would watch.
Welcome to Hannity and tonight's celebrities. They are not coping well with Donald Trump's second term. Take a look at your screen. Clearly, this is bizarre. Alec Baldwin, right there on your screen, not in a very good place. He needs his mommy to take care of him. I don't know what that thing is. Anyway, meanwhile, C-list actor Jeff Daniels is still fantasizing about life under President Kamala Harris. It's like a collective meltdown. Take a look.
I still think about Kamala and how I think she would have been a good choice. I don't care what they say.
I don't care what they say. You would have been great. Anyway, the delusion is off the charts. Coming up, we'll check in with Clay Travis. He will respond as Democrats continue their meltdown while President Trump is racking up win after win after win. And now another huge loss for the Democrats. Their beloved late-night therapist who gave up a career in comedy to serve as a devoted partisan MSDNC shill has been canned by CBS, Stephen Colbert, and he will be out in May, and he is not happy about it at all. Take a look.
In a completely unrelated story, on Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself.
Just exactly why he's in the position he's in. Colbert's show simply wasn't funny. His ratings were abysmal. The program was reportedly losing like $40 to $50 million a year. But can you guess who Democrats blame? Of course, Donald Trump. And President Trump, he's happy about it. And in less than 24 hours, they cooked up another tinfoil hat conspiracy theory claiming that the left-wing CBS is taking orders from the Trump White House. And now the entire Democratic Party, they are seething with more rage, including Jon Stewart. Actually, he's a guy that can be funny. Take a look.
So here's the point. If you're trying to figure out why Stephen's show is ending, I don't think the answer can be found in some smoking gun email or phone call from Trump to CBS executives or in CBS's QuickBooks spreadsheets on the financial health of late night. I think the answer is in the fear and pre-compliance that is gripping all of America's institutions at this very moment.
All right, let's be very clear. Not every Democrat is angrily mourning the loss of the Late Show. I think Stewart should have gotten the job myself. But, you know, Hunter Biden, for example, he's just angry at everything. I mean, everything. Take a look.
Him, and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to undermine the president?
F him. But God bless him. I hear he's generous. But F him more. Fortunately, during that interview, Hunter did take a moment to reminisce about one of his favorite old passions in life, crack cocaine. And he even gave a lesson in how to make crack and suggested, if I heard this right, it was less dangerous than alcohol. So if your kids are going to drink, you might want to suggest an alternative. I don't think so. Take a look.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities.
Oh, I got a science lesson on top of the F-bombs. Crack cocaine might have been the only thing that Hunter didn't disparage during that interview. And now the liberal hosts of Pod Save America's, they're not happy about being attacked by zero experience Hunter. Take a look.
You were on the board of Burisma because of who your dad is. And that is what people hate about Washington. And it was part of the problem.
One thing we know is that Hunter Biden, throughout Joe Biden's presidency, was a terrible liability for him. And put the addiction aside, it is because he was on Burisma, because he became an artist, because he was part of a kind of like sleazy Washington that, as Tommy said, people hated. You were a liability. You should be ashamed of the ways in which you made your father's political life worse. And like the idea that we're going to listen to you now, like give me a break. It's ridiculous.
Now they sound like me. Now, 5 days ago, the Washington Post, they published this report, quote, Democrats try a new tone, less scripted, or at least try as hard as you can to appear less scripted and more cussing, more cursing. Well, I guess we're getting a lot of that. We got that from Gavin Newsom also. And don't forget, hey, Joe, want to get a brewski? How was the game last night? Let's spend millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions to communicate to men the way men want to be communicated to. That's real authenticity if I've ever seen it. This dumpster fire full of F words now burning hot inside the Democratic Party. Well, can't be on purpose, right? Democrats, they look there's no authenticity, none, zero, no creativity. But the sloppy war of words between the Bidens and everyone else in the Democratic Party kind of pales in comparison to the major rift between the party's performative establishment left-wing politicians and the real-life lunatics that believe now in Marxism that rule the party. There is a political civil war playing out inside the Democratic Party. Once powerful Democrats like Chucky Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, they're all cowering in fear. Oh, no, Mamdani, what do? We can't criticize him. We can't criticize AOC. The party's radical base has totally abandoned them. Their fundraising numbers, oh, sadly, they are horrific. Actually, that's a good thing. They are now polling worse than ever in the history of these approval polls. Wow, whopping 19%. The only Democrats with traction are those who want to abolish capitalism, want more DEI, wants taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegal immigrants and criminals, and taxpayer-funded college education, and, well, they want tampons in grade school boys' bathrooms. Anyway, they want to transform America into nothing but a woke socialist hellhole. Look, I don't agree with Crazy Carville, James Carville, my old friend, on much. But this week, he hit the nail on the head. Let me give you this quote. Constipated, leaderless, confused, a cracked-out clown car, divided. These are the words I hear my fellow Democrats using to describe our party as of late. The truth is, they're not wrong. The Democratic Party is in shambles. He's right. They won't listen to him. I have bad news for Carville. If my instincts are correct, it's only going to get worse as the party's devout Marxists take complete control.
Just leave your money on the dresser. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, legendary rocker Ozzy Osbourne sadly passed away today at the age of 76. And somewhere up in heaven, there's an angel who just got his head bitten off. Last night, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, John Oliver, and Jon Stewart showed their support for Stephen Colbert by appearing on his show. It's the most laughs network TV had since they showed Sophie's Choice with limited commercial interruption. Since Colbert's firing, Jon Stewart told CBS to go F yourself, and Colbert told Trump to go F yourself. Wow, $100 million worth of writers must really have paid off. On X yesterday, Kamala Harris commemorated the one-year anniversary of the start of her failed presidential campaign. She shared the moment with a few of her friends, Jack, Johnny, Jim, Jose. Diversity, where it counts, in the liver. She didn't celebrate with her husband, as Doug had tickets to see Coldplay with a nanny. A woman who was officially pronounced dead for 2 minutes, but then was revived, drew a picture of what she saw on the other side. I think we have it. I want that on my wall. Hunter Biden said that smoking crack is safer than drinking alcohol. Maybe so, but I've never heard of anyone blowing someone for a Coors Light. A Bud Light? Maybe.
Never over.
Hunter also claimed that during that disastrous presidential debate, his father was under the influence of Ambien. Because if there's one thing Joe needed, it was more sleep. Finally, in the same interview, Hunter said his family got him a service animal to help him cope with his addiction. Sadly, it was for his sex addiction. What, bestiality is now a problem for you? All right, so 6 months into his second term, Trump hasn't just hit the ground running, he's pummeled it into submission. It's a big difference from the last president who hit the ground then stayed there. We now have a president who rules with an iron fist, not from an iron lung. Remember when the southern border resembled the Boston Marathon with thousands sprinting across the finish line? Today, there's fewer illegal crossings than job postings for the Colbert Show. And in May, blue-collar wage growth saw its largest increase in almost 60 years. Plumbers haven't been this busy since a Taco Bell opened near Jerry Nadler's office. So how did that happen? Well, Trump also ushered in the largest deportation operation in history, which means people like me now must hire actual U.S. citizens to shave my back. Remember the tariffs the Dems claimed would crash the economy? They braked in over $100 billion. Couple that with Doge's estimated savings of $190 billion, and we're halfway to paying off Kamala's bar tab. The stock market is higher than Snoop Dogg at Hempfest. Inflation is as dead as the meerkat on Maxine Waters' head. Trump's moving so fast his enemies in the media are eating his dust like a Roomba. DEI is DOA, the guy stopped 2 wars, and the Iranian nuke facilities are flatter than Dylan Mulvaney. At home, the U.S. is on track for its lowest murder rate on record. Things have been so good, even the media has to admit it. I wonder, can a lot happen in just 6 months?
A lot can happen in just 6 months. Today marks half a year since President Trump took office again. And already his second term is shaping up to be even more consequential than his first.
There is little question that Trump is fulfilling a campaign promise. In a matter of months, migrant crossings have hit record lows. From sweeping changes in the federal government to mass deportations and bombs dropped on Iran. The president promised changes, and there is no question he has made them.
It's a presidential moment that can't be denied. I only hope Jake will write a book about it 2 years too late. It's a far cry from earlier this year when Trump was an evil threat who would tank the economy.
They've reviewed Donald Trump's plan and have determined he will weaken America's economy, he will ignite inflation, and he will bring on a recession by the middle of next year.
We're already seeing predictions that there will be shrinking growth and a recession this year.
Next time you all see me, Donald Trump will be president, and you may not see me.
You nailed that prediction, Miss Cleo. And true, we're seeing plenty more Trump, and you'll be seeing a lot more of your therapist. You know, for months, the left created a fake apocalypse. They pretended we would have the Depression, Civil War, World War III, and the World Cup, all in the same year. But those doomsday predictions just worked in our favor, causing even more people to self-deport, while sending Rosie O'Donnell to Ireland and Ella DeGeneres to London. And what the hell is up with Ellen? I understand moving to England, but do you have to turn into King Charles? My God. So things are getting better by the day. And true, you hear the same old pushback from the same old humpbacks. But it's also perfunctory. And why? Well, everyone knew change was needed. Even Dems saw their state suffering. Americans couldn't afford groceries. Our adversaries and allies didn't respect us. And you couldn't walk into a woman's locker room without tripping over a dick. But the Dems were helpless, cowed into submission by activists and special interest groups. They embraced wokeism, identity politics, gender ideology, climate alarmism, and they ignored the real issues. But Trump gave them an out. He came in and said, I'll be the villain if I can fix this country. I'll save women's sports. I'll cut the red tape and unleash American energy. I'll reshore jobs and offshore murderers. And of course, his opponents are going to scream about it, but they know that he was the remedy that they needed. And now they're in a woke hangover. Trump got the drugs out of the House, but it's still in their system. And the withdrawals suck, but they knew that it had to be done. The Dems needed outside help and intervention. Because after years of capitulating to the woke, their muscles of moral and civil order atrophied. And like a typical addict, they couldn't change even if they wanted to. So Trump saved them by doing for them what they couldn't do for themselves. So they can still hate him, but believe me, they are relieved because he got the woke monkey off their back. Now, all they have to do is find something to replace it with. I suggest a spine. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's got 2 watches and 0 combs. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary. Like a dull pencil, he rarely has a point. Host of the President's Daily Brief podcast, Mike Baker. She went from the Chili Peppers to Doomsday Preppers. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. He can lift your spirits and a car off your chest. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion Tyrus. First off, Kevin, I love what you're wearing. You look like Hugh Hefner trying to sneak into a high school prom.
I can't believe how fabulous I look tonight.
Yes.
I got to tell you, and from
Is this
now
the
on,
new you?
No, listen. From now on, I want to be known as Mr. Wonderful, the Gutfeld fashionista. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to bring it every time.
Yeah.
It's going to get better every time. Stop the madness.
Yes, yes.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're like Scarface threw up.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I need a new look. I'm loving this.
So I got to ask you, okay, aren't your Democrat friends secretly happy that Trump is fixing stuff and taking the blame for it?
Yes, but they are freaking out about New York. This new dude coming in is the face of the Democratic Party, and he's a friggin' communist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not the right direction, big guy.
Yeah, I know.
I said, you're going to be living. You know what I like about it? You'll be going down to the river eating government cheese every week. Like, you got to move out of here.
And I'm lactose intolerant, so that's it. I'll be blowing that into the water. It won't be cheese. It'll be cheese whiz.
I think that's an issue, and I'm freaking out about it too. Listen, I called him up. I said, I want to meet with you. He apparently is not here. He's in Uganda.
Yes.
But his people blew me off and said, what does he want to meet with you for? I said, well, I bring money. I bring jobs. Maybe you might want some of those. Maybe.
No.
Maybe you should talk to guys like me. I hope I do meet with him when he gets back.
Yeah, who knows if he gets back. Oh, Mikey. Mikey, you know what's interesting about this is the connection between blue-collar jobs going up alongside deportations. Could there be a relationship with that? And you're looking great.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you look like you walked out of a Viagra Cialis symposium.
No, yeah. I'm wearing a shacket. We talked about this earlier.
You're like the
show.
spokesmodel for men-only pharmaceuticals.
Hey, you know, I appreciate that. And it's not easy sitting next to Kevin.
Yes, yes.
And it does make you wonder, what do you wear under pajamas like that?
Nothing. It's very package friendly.
That is wonderful. So I forgot what the question was.
I'm not surprised.
Yes.
You have a very, very loose grip on reality.
I really do at this stage of my life.
Okay.
But I think picking up on something that Kevin said about, if I may, see you to riff on Mamdani, right, the potential New York mayor. The problem that the Democrats have, and I know this is, we're going in a different direction here, but the problem that Democrats have is they're leaderless, right? They're searching, they're desperate to find somebody. And a recent survey said, look, you know, who would you put at the top of the party?
You don't like Hunter Biden?
I do like Hunter Biden. But they said Ocasio-Cortez, they said Bernie Sanders, and they said Kamala Harris. And none of them got more than 10% of this survey vote, right? So, yeah, the party's got serious problems. They've got to go outside the party and find something. But people underestimate just how smart you are, because I was listening, actually, this time to your monologue. And, you know, but the way that you phrase that, the fact that what Trump has done is come in and recalibrated, allow them to reset. Yes. And get away from this doom spiral they were in. And it really is brilliant. I give you a lot of credit.
I think of it as an intervention, Kennedy, in a way. Or like when you wake up the next day and you're grateful that the bartender cut you off. Yeah. It's like, you know what? If I was left to my own devices, I would have destroyed myself. And that's kind of like, I think that Democrats might be looking at Trump that way. No?
Democrats, no, they don't have the good fortune of waking up going, oh, I'm so glad the bartender cut me off. No, they woke up covered in ditch mud and rat poo in the drunk tank.
Yes.
And they spent their phone call on Domino's.
Yes.
And even Domino's didn't take the phone call. And so now, but Mike is absolutely right. Like, they can't go with Democrats. They are such a tarnished brand that the two stars of the party are an avowed commie and Hunter Biden.
And Hunter Biden, I'm all in.
Yeah. I mean, I know
but we're going to talk about that.
I know we're going to talk about Hunter a little bit later, but they, you know, it's like, I don't like to use these canine metaphors, but the Democrats have really screwed the pooch here.
Or I would say that dog don't hunt. I just came up with that one. Tyrus, you know, I got a lot of these things. You can come by my office. I'll share them with you.
The door's too short.
Don't you love it when I scurry in underneath the table?
Yeah, your team always likes jumping at the desk. It's very nice. It's like Jaws. I hate to say this because I do consider you a brilliant man, but I disagree with you wholeheartedly on this. They're not happy with anything the president has done. What he has done is stop them from becoming billionaires. He has stopped the money laundering. He has stopped their ability. The woke brand was fake disasters that the taxpayers would be forced to dump money in.
True.
And then laundered into their accounts so they get their mansions and stuff. They've never given a about the American people. All they've cared about is lining their pockets. And he has stopped that. So they will never say, oh, thank you, because they never really thought about helping the American people. You never see, every time you see them, they're always doing what? Flying on private jets, flying in this, and he's bringing it up. He had his money, so he didn't get with the program. And the reason why this 6 months has been so crazy, because he knows the swamp is not just roots in the Democratic Party. The Republican Party has got the same roots in the swamp. The difference is they had to be silent. The only time we see them is when it's time for his big, beautiful bill, and all of a sudden these Republicans suddenly have problems with one small part of the thing because they answer to the pharmaceutical companies just as much as the Democrat and other things do. So the reason why he's going fast, because he has no choice. He has to get it done in 6 months because eventually the midterms, those rhinos and those Republicans who care more about their own personal wealth are going to show their ass. So there's never going to be a time that the Democratic Party is ever going to say, we appreciate what you're doing. You know how much money they lost with the borders being closed? You know how much money they lost with law enforcement being reinforced again? With their money laundering USDAs and all that? They can no longer get their relatives paid. They are furious because he has stopped the swamp.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.